living, and I have my props that Julie had before. This is Julie Drake. She is a doctor of pharmacy here at Hilton Head Hospital, and I've learned more in 11 minutes. Takeaway, practical stuff. And I said to you during the break, I feel like I'm a fairly educated consumer, but these just, it seem like I will actually go home and do it. Fill out my medications. Can I ask the difference between a generic medication versus a brand, how those are decided on by the pharmacist or my physician, and what are some things I should ask when I am given a medicine?
You again asked me a bunch of questions.
I know.
So let's start with brand versus generic. And
Okay.
Generally, there isn't a difference. And I say generally, there's always exceptions to the rule.
Okay.
And one way to determine, again, if there's an exception to the rule is if you're on a product,
Okay.
and maybe the brand, and it's taking care, it's getting you to the goal.
Got
you
it.
want great blood pressure, it's where you want to be, and you say, you know what, this is costing me too much money. Is there an alternative? Can we do something different? Your physician says, you know what, let's switch it to the generic. I
Go
see
for
no
it.
problem with that. And then your blood pressure isn't being
Okay.
maintained where you want it to be. That's when you have to say, okay, is it worth it?
Got it.
But generally, we prefer
problem at all.
generics.
Okay.
Yeah, because again, it saves you money.
Is it generic? Does a brand become generic at what time? Is it just a patent thing?
It's a patent thing, usually 7 to 10 years. There's obviously a lot of things that happen behind the scenes of when a medication becomes generic. But
Okay. So I'm given a medicine, and I've asked my doctor, what is this for? Do I ask about how much am I taking? What are some other questions when I should take it?
Absolutely. I think the best thing you can do is always be proactive about your health and having those questions, talking to your doctor, having a conversation, and not only your doctor, but also your pharmacist. They can help you, especially I see patients come in and they have 10 medications.
Okay.
And they're taking them maybe all at the same time, maybe they're taking them different times throughout the day, maybe they're forgetting one here and there. Consistency is key.
Consistency is key.
But if it becomes overwhelming because they have so many medications, sometimes it's worth having that conversation. Can I combine a couple of these medications? Can we get rid of a couple? Is there a way to streamline? The industry now has medications that have 2 or 3 products within one tablet. So instead of taking 3, now you're taking 1. It's great. It reduces the stress. It gives you a little...
Go ahead.
Oh, it just gives you an option instead of taking 3 to go to 1 and sort of reducing the pill volume, first of all, that you're taking, and also maybe the timing and remembering. And this one refills it halfway through the month, and the next one refills at the end of the month. That all goes away.
Does it make sense for me to consider my pharmacist as a new member of my medical team?
Absolutely. And again, we had talked about knowing your numbers. If you know your goal blood pressure, if you know your goal cholesterol level, you know your goal weight, because a lot of disease, especially heart disease, if your weight is not consistent, you're putting on a few pounds over a few days,
Okay.
that may mean you have extra water weight, and that again can stress your heart out. So knowing what your goal weight is,
Okay.
those sorts of things, you can not only have a conversation with your physician, but you can talk to your pharmacist. And I will tell you that they will address not only your medications, because I think medications really tend to be the last resort.
Oh,
Lifestyle
yes.
medications, diet, exercise, there are a lot of things we can do before we get to the medication side of things. But again, having that conversation, my blood pressure is still not where we need it to be. Can you help me figure out what we need to do next?
So, and again, going back to streamlining things, does it ever help to say to my pharmacist, here is a list of course you probably have it in the computer, here's a list of the 45 things I'm taking.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm wondering why.
And in this day and age, we would love to go to the same pharmacist for every single medication. But sometimes our insurances, they
Right.
force us to send away for 3 months supply,
Right.
and then maybe we get a 1 month supply from our local pharmacy, but then we're forced to send away for the rest. You're getting medications from different sources. Not everybody, again, is on the same page. So having a list
Okay.
of not just your prescription medications, but your vitamins, your herbal supplements, everything should be on that list.
I come into the emergency room and I have my EMS has one of these in his hand.
Yes.
Do I need to grab my medicines if I am admitted so that I can take them while I'm in the hospital? What is the policy and procedure for taking my home medicine in the hospital?
Generally, the way our medications work in the hospital is we want our computer systems, our scanning technology, our safety measures
Got it.
to go through our medications in the hospital. So
Okay.
generally we say keep your medications at home.
Okay.
We'll give you our medications. Generally everything that you take at home we'll be able to supply for
Do
you.
you have my list?
I do. And the list is important. If you don't have a list, grabbing all your medications and bringing them with you would be the alternative. We prefer that. It makes
Yes.
it easier.
Yeah. It just streamlines it.
Absolutely. But again, having some sort of knowledge of what you're taking is helpful. Every once in a while, we may have a medication that you're on. An example would be a chemotherapy.
Okay.
We don't necessarily have every chemotherapy that is out there on our formulary. And in that case, we'll ask you to bring your medication in so you can take it in our hospital while you're here.
What role does family or support person have when it comes to medicine for you? Is it nice? Do you advocate that there's another set of ears listening?
Another set of ears, another set of eyes. Now, when you get discharged, we will give you an updated list because your medications may be adjusted, and maybe that's what happened. Your medications weren't quite where they needed to be. You came to see us in the hospital. We send you home with a new updated list.
Okay.
Take that home, that discharge medication list, and again, update not only your pharmacist, all your physicians, and also make sure your wallet list and the one on your refrigerator is updated as well.
A little shift of topics and subjects here, but I understand that you have classes that you actually do. Can you share with us a little
We
bit
do.
about
We
what
have
you
a
do?
cardiac rehab and a pulmonary rehab classes that we talk about medications. I review patient home medications and again help if patients say, you know what, I really wish we could streamline this. I take a look and say, you know what, let's see what we can do to work with what you're taking.
So what does that look like? What patients would be available for that, or who? How do you become part of the class?
Generally, they enroll through the cardiac rehab or the pulmonary rehab programs that we have here at Hilton
And
Head
how
Hospital.
long are the classes, and what can they expect?
Well, they're about an hour.
Okay.
Again, after the discussion is over, I can meet individually with the patients to we call it a brown bag, where patients either
Oh, yeah,
show me
sure.
a list of their medications or they bring them in and we go through them, and medication by medication we talk about them and side effects, what they should expect, is it working for them, what are their goals.
Oh, I have the best question ever. You're going to die. My favorite question is, oftentimes I hear people say, my doctor prescribed a medication. I'm like, cool. I Googled it. Right?
Yes,
You
yes.
know my question?
Yes.
I Googled it, and oh my gosh, I don't think I'm going to take that. Help me. Please help me.
Okay, so first, if the physician is prescribing it, then he wants you to be on it, I guess, and then have a conversation with a physician. But you can also talk to the pharmacist about your concerns, your
Okay.
questions. A lot of times, what you're reading is something that is rare,
Okay, right,
unlikely to happen.
right.
But in full disclosure, the manufacturer is expected to put any and all possible side effects, things you can and can't expect, in pamphlets and information. It's full disclosure.
So I guess if I were going to talk about even something as simple as sugar, if I really looked at side effects of too much. No, I'm being
Absolutely.
dead serious.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would be like, oh, I'm never having sugar again, but we don't do that.
Right.
So I guess it's using the resources like you to sort of help me understand what is real and what are the
Absolutely.
benefits
Absolutely.
versus the risks.
To filter out all the extra
Baloney.
noise and just what's important for you.
The extra noise. I think that's what a great way to end the